I think that sets the scene really well. I think one of the things we can say is the Legal Services Board is very good at producing a video, don't we think? There are some TV stars in that video. I started my career as a solicitor 25 years ago. I know I don't look old enough, but I did. It was 25 years ago. And over this time, I have seen a great deal of change in the legal profession. We've seen restrictions on marketing get relaxed greatly. It's true, those of us in the room that are old enough to remember, we didn't used to be able to market our services, or it was very limited in the way we could market our services. Back in 1997, Lord Wolfe, remember him, did a review, and what happened after that? We got the new civil procedure rules. Those that remember, there was a big blue book, I remember it well, and then what they did is it pushed ADR to the foreground, another big change in the legal landscape, a big change for lawyers and for legal profession. We've had a significant widening of markets, so lawyers now, law firms, even barristers now represent clients internationally, not just locally, not just nationally. The ambit has gone far, far wider. We've got a much wider thing than we used to have. Legal aid, on the downside, has diminished. It's almost non-existent in many, many areas. This is a huge change that we've seen over the last 25 years in our legal profession, in our legal sector. And these are just some of the changes. We know there's been many, many other changes as well. But here's what's not changed. There's a significant thing that's not changed about this profession, and that is, if I put it in this way, the snobbery of the profession. We still have barristers wearing wigs and gowns. We still have that. Should we have it? I expressed a view earlier today. My view is no. It's a big topic. Not for today, but it has a place in some of the discussions we're having today. Solicitors and barristers still wear pinstripe suits. I purposely didn't wear one today, so I could say that, but we still wear pinstripe suits day in, day out. Why does it matter? I'll come back to that in a moment. And we are still really, really bad at marketing our services to the general public. We're good at telling the consumer of the commercial world what we do. We're good at telling businesses what we do. There's a big focus on that because people think that's where all the money is in this profession. But we're not good at marketing our services to the general public, to the consumers. We don't have meerkats running around talking about the legalsupermarket.com. It doesn't exist. Maybe it should. Lawyers would probably frown upon that and think, well, why would we want that? Because that's the sort of thing that tells consumers that legal services are available. This is another big problem in this sector. And one of the things I think we'll probably develop more as the day goes on. Now, 14 years ago, I went on BBC Breakfast to talk about a consumer law issue. And the boss of LBC, that big radio station over on Leicester Square, saw me on that programme, and it sparked an idea in his mind. The idea was, what if we got this lawyer who seems to be able to talk, seems to be able to have an affinity with the viewer, what if we got him on LBC to answer legal questions? Could it possibly work? And at this time, no one had done this, or if they had, it was very few people had done it in this way. So one Sunday evening, they got me on with another presenter to answer legal questions. The first 15 minutes, there were no phone calls whatsoever. If anyone who listens to LBC will know, it's all about the phone calls. It's called Leading Britain's Conversation for a reason, and it's about answering phones. Presenters on LBC have this massive fear. If the phone doesn't ring, what do I do next? Well, you plug the gap. You talk about anything and anything. But you hope it's never going to happen. It does happen, by the way. Sometimes I do 4 a.m. shows when I'm covering, and there I'm talking about all sorts of things, not what I'm supposed to be talking about. So they had this concept, and we trialed it out. Now, what happened then is I was talking to the presenter about different legal issues. All of a sudden, somebody called in with a question. I answered the question, and as I was answering the question, the switchboard lit up. There was now a full switchboard. And I was answering questions for the rest of the hour. Now, LBC then did some listener feedback, and here's what they found. People were shocked that there was a lawyer on the radio that sounded just like them. So I didn't sound like a typical lawyer. Why did that matter? Because now they had that affinity with me. There was a lawyer on the radio that would talk to them on their level. Why did it matter? Because they felt comfortable talking to me. And there was a lawyer on the radio that actually they felt like wasn't on a pedestal, I think it's a word that's very important, wasn't on a pedestal, was there to answer my questions. We felt comfortable. 14 years later, I still do that show every single week. I now do it on my own. I present the show. I've done more than 1,000 of these shows in the last 14 years. The numbers of listenership's gone up and up and up. Why? Because people are shocked. They're shocked that there's a lawyer that will answer their questions for free. I'm not saying we should be doing that all the time, by the way, but there's a lawyer on the radio that's accessible and there. And the reason I tell you this story is because this sums up part of the problem with our legal profession, in my view, at the moment. I do exactly the same thing every week on ITVs. This morning, I get the same feedback on there. We, as a profession, need to be more accessible. We're going to talk about trust quite a bit today as well. We need to be more trustworthy. There's trust and confidence issues as well. But my personal interest in today is all about the being accessible, being someone that the consumers of this country, the great British public, want to speak to. That, I think, is one of the fundamental things, one of the fundamental changes that we need in this profession. By the way, I'm not saying every lawyer's got to be like me. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is I use myself as a good example where the public did not want to come to me and ask questions on LBC and on This Morning and so forth. But when they heard that I was different, I would speak to them on their level, then they started to open up. As a profession, and I bring this back to the whole pinstripe suits and wigs, when you wear a pinstripe suit, when you wear a wig, people are not comfortable. And this comfortable factor is really, really important. Relationships are important because clients have to feel that they can have a relationship with you on the same level as them and so forth. And I think all these things will come out during the event today. Now, you can see there are some electronic boards behind us. This is a conference full of technology. And to tell us all about this technology and how it's going to work and how we're going to run questions and so forth today, I'd like to invite Tania Hardcastle, my co-host today, who's going to explain how the technology is going to work.
Thank you very much, Dean. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Tania Hardcastle, and I'm a Regulatory Policy Manager at the Legal Services Board. As Dean mentioned, today we'll be feeding in questions and comments from the audience, both those who are attending in person here in the room today and those who are online. So you should be able to use Slido, so that's the platform that we'll be using today to facilitate questions from the audience. A QR code should appear on screen, and you should be able to scan it using your phone and enter the live polls for the questions that come up throughout the interactive sessions today. If you're joining us online, you should see a Slido tab to the side through which you can access all the polls and answer questions. Alternatively, you can go directly onto your browser, type in sli.o and use the code #0603. So let's start kicking things off with a couple of quick-fire questions. The first poll we've got today is which town or city are you joining us from today? I think quite a few people have already started answering this question. We should have a word cloud appear on screen shortly that displays where everyone's come from. Got obviously a lot of people coming from London, from Cardiff, Bristol, Birmingham, lots of people from Exeter, Coventry, Lincoln, so all over the country really. So it's great to see lots of people come here and attend today, and thank you for being here. Another quick poll is please tell us what your job role is. So we've got a breadth of expertise and experience in the room today. We've got regulators, we've got legal professionals, we've got law students, leaders across the civil sector, civic society, lots of third sector representatives, lots of academics and local government. So hopefully that should spark lots of interesting discussions and conversations throughout the day. I think that's it from me for the time being, so I'll hand back over to Dean. Thank you very much for listening and very much encourage you to continue using the Slido polls throughout the day.
Thank you, Tania. Please do keep doing that, by the way. Thank you. It's the only conference in the world where you can have your phone out. You do need it on silent though, but you can have your phone out. And please do use it because this is all about action. It's about getting your feedback. So please do keep on being interactive with that. The more we have that today, the more useful and the more we get out of this, the more we will see some change after the conference, which is again what this is all about. Now, access to justice is a fundamental right, yet much of the population, as I explained at the start, simply does not know where to turn for legal advice. And I've shared my experiences with you in this as well. And people face countless dilemmas with this in relation to housing, employment, immigration, and many, many more subjects where there is huge amount of consumer detriment just because they cannot find legal representation. So I'm delighted that we will start this morning off with a focus on this vitally important subject. And to lead us through this session, can I introduce Tom Hayhoe, the chair of the Legal Services Consumer Panel. Tom.